everyone, and thanks for stopping by. Here's a review on a knife from a company that I've had no experience with until this knife, and this knife being the Benchmade Osborne Axis 940 model. Let me say that as of now I'm really impressed with the Benchmade knives, at least with the ones that I've had a chance to look at. So Benchmade Osborne Axis again is what this knife is, and this is a totally awesome knife all around. Everything from the blade shape, the handle shape, the way everything's thrown together, the locking system, the steel, everything just very well done. A reference knife for tactical / EDC use. So I'll get right into this, and first thing I'll do, give you some outside dimensions and specifications here. Carry weight on this is an amazing 2.8 ounces, just under 3 ounces. Like I think Benchmade says 2.9. Maybe it is. Nope, my scale's whacked. Yep, 2.9. So yeah, just around 3 ounces. Blade length is just under 3.5 inches long. And overall length, let me check that, is, I believe it's, yes, just under 8 inches. And length when closed is about 4.5. So, yes, a great knife for carry weight compared to the size of what you get there. Like, that's a very lightweight for the performance that you get, or essentially how big this knife performs. So, blade shape, I'll start at this end and I'll work back as I always do. Blade shape is what's called a reverse tanto, and what makes it that is it stays pretty flat on the way down here, comes up to a bit of a curve, and this here is a 45-degree angle, or maybe not exactly 45, but similar. A tanto shape on the top. And this enables a really strong tip, yet still being very sharp. I'll see if I can get you a close-up of this here. There you go. This tip comes down very, very sharp, considering the thickness and the strength of the tip itself. We've got a false edge here that is, of course, unsharpened. It's a folding knife. You could sharpen that if you want your pocket ripped and yourself. So, yeah, the false edge is mostly just for looks and to remove a little bit of weight. And they get it wide again up here, maybe for looks, but I suppose that helps reinforce the tip as well. And the steel on this, which I should have mentioned right at the beginning, right there, S30V. Basically, a nice way of saying about the best steel you can get, no matter what way you cut it. Corrosion resistance even is slightly better than 440C, and edge holding abilities is among the best. I won't quite say the best, there maybe are some competitors that do as well. And retention as well is about the best out there. So overall, it's basically the best stainless steel you can possibly get. And maybe I'll revise that and even say the best steel you can get, because this will outperform any carbon steels to my knowledge. And the carbon content on this, though, is quite high. It's 1.45, I believe, of a percent. And that's quite high carbon for most stainless steels, but it's also very chip resistant, though. And this is especially good for bigger blades, even though this is very small. But yeah, S30V is an awesome steel, no matter what way you cut it. I'm going to run out of time here. I better start trucking along. Here we've got their thumb stud, which is ambidextrous. I like that. Thank you very much for a left-handed guy like me. And it's perfectly balanced, positioned right where it should be, and it just comes flipping right on out of there. That was lame, wasn't it? With absolutely nominal effort. This is the best I've ever seen for an opener. Like here, I know I reference this knife a lot. Here's an Endura by Spyderco. This one takes a really deliberate movement to bring out. I'm trying not to hit my camera here, so I'm not doing it very good, but yeah, not very well positioned. They mostly are focusing on that Emerson opener, but this one, give it a little flick with either a nail or even just your thumb, comes flipping right on out of there. some guys, which brings us into the locking system, also use Benchmade's axis lock to flip it open, like so. I find it easier just to use the thumb stud, but once it's open, grasp the lock, pull it back, you can close the blade just like that. Pretty slick. No, I just hit my desk. There we go. Pretty awesome. Now the lockup on this is as rock solid as possible. No play, no matter what way you cut it. You know, up, down, side to side. If you do have play, it will just be in side to side, but this is adjustable, so you can change that if it is a little bit of play. This lock is self-adjusting, so up and down you're never ever going to get play. It'll just continually to wear further and further back, and I don't think you'd ever run out of reach in that. That's a lot of steel to wear down. That won't happen. So, yeah, so there's no worry about it ever developing play in that case. Though I did find that side to side it will develop that if you open a whole bunch. I just put some blue Loctite, blue because it's reversible. Or sorry, not reversible. It's still possible to unscrew it afterwards, which you're going to want with these fairly fragile torque screws. But it's still possible to unscrew it afterwards, should you ever want to take the knife apart. I've not had this knife apart. I'm assuming it's not that difficult, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you absolutely have to. It's just easier not to. There's no reason to unless, I don't know, maybe you put it in salt water or something, but get a saltwater knife like Spyderco's H1 if you want something for that. So, yeah, an awesome lockup. This is one of my favorite locking systems. There's lots of manufacturers coming out with these sort of locks. Here's one by SOG. This is called the Arc Lock. It's a self-adjuster again. Cold Steel's taken it a real far away with their Triad lock. But this one I like because it's ambidextrous. You'll see me harp on that a lot, but it matters to me. I'm a left-hander. I don't know why manufacturers, a lot of them don't, like Kershaw. They don't put much time and effort into making it reversible or doable for a left-hander, and I think they lose lots of sales like that. So, onto the handle. It's aluminum handled with this nice little aesthetic strip of steel running across here. Maybe that's aluminum as well. It's purple, but doesn't that add a lot to the looks? I think it's awesome. And we've got this jimping in here that it isn't that sharp, but as you've seen from my cutting tests, and I did some thrusts in this position, I did some pretty hard stuff, and this keeps your hand from coming all the way ahead. It's not a big worry. It would be nice if it was a little bit sharper maybe, but it's not a big worry. That's sort of a matted finish they have on their aluminum handles there, and it's got nice traction and yet still feels nice in hand. And here's their pocket clip, which is a little on the wide side. Hate to say it, but still the god of the pocket clips is still the inventor of the pocket clips. The best I've ever seen is Spyderco's. They just work so nicely. A little high on the knife, or low on the knife, I know, but I don't really care. It's just so nice to work with. But this one is one of the best again. It's a little tight to begin with. It's hard to pull it in and out, but keep using it. That'll loosen up in time. Reversible. That's awesome. Just what I'd want. And further down here you've got enough handle left, at least for my hands, that you still got enough room for an impact device, like a non-lethal impact device, or maybe in an emergency use, like smashing windows and that kind of thing, if you had to. And fills your hand really nicely, the whole handle. Gives a nice, solid, confident grip. And I've had the opportunity to use this knife quite a bit in this last while. And it's held up great. Now, I'll just quickly talk about the sharpness quick again. In case you didn't gather from the video, this is stinking sharp. When you can take a leather strip and cut it better than most knives will cut paper, that's pretty sharp. So, yeah. And it'll hold that edge, and hey, it comes from Benchmade about that sharp. That's what I love about it. Now, I'm running really out of time here, but I'm just going to roll in some competitive options. This is a SOG Aegis, which is, I've just pointed out earlier here, and that's a knife, or look for my upcoming review on that. That's around $60. Oh, a note, that is an expensive knife. About $200. It's really going to set the bank back, but you see me reference this knife a lot, but I love it so much. My hard-used Endura. Been around. They're in flat ground now. Here's another knife that I will be reviewing. This is the Kershaw Groove. Another great knife around the under $100 price point. So, I'm out of time, guys. Benchmade Osborne Axis 940. Thanks for watching. Cutworks LL. See you later.